The tsunami hits so fast, I don't even have time to run. The whole mall shatters around me, water crashing through the glass roof, and people are getting swept away everywhere I look. I go under, fighting for air, debris slamming into me from every direction, and then everything goes black. When I open my eyes again, I'm floating on a tiny wooden raft in the middle of an endless ocean, and I'm not the only one confused. A woman near me is freaking out, asking what that was and where she was. Some old man is sitting on an actual toilet on his raft, just as lost, yelling where that place was. And a guy with purple hair is staring up at the sky, muttering where the heck he had been sent to and if he was even still in the country. Then this massive blue screen lights up over all our heads, and a voice booms out,
"Welcome to survival at sea. Death in this game world means death in reality. Please strive to survive until the day you can return to the real world."
Some rich guy nearby, all decked out in a shiny gold shirt, starts throwing wads of cash into the ocean like that's going to help, begging to be let go back, saying he had money and would give them everything. Even a little girl on another raft just starts crying. But the voice keeps going.
Every player starts with the same supplies, a single raft and a fishing rod. Within 3 days, your raft will loosen and eventually fall apart. Only by upgrading can you survive on this raft.
That's when a shark the size of a bus breaks the surface and smashes straight through someone's raft, dragging them under. I watch it happen and my stomach drops. This stuff must be fake, right? Sitting there catching my breath, my mind starts throwing memories at me. A woman dropping a diamond ring, late nights at the office, my ex laughing with some rich guy on his yacht. My head is pounding. Then another message flashes above me.
Friendly reminder, all rules of the old world are now void. Here, any and all player actions are permitted. Finally, happy surviving.
Hearing that announcement, I clench my fist. Linda, Zachary, that wretched couple is still alive, and I know it. I can't afford to give up. I'm going to survive this, no matter what it takes. Right then, a golden glow burst out around me, and a new message pops up.
Because of your infinite rage, a new unique skill awakened. Golden trait system. Binding in progress.
Then, the light started to stabilize.
Binding successful. The host may draw one golden trait every day. Complete tasks to gain permanent trait effects.
Then, in the system space, I see it. 10 billion. That's how many traits are apparently in this system. I took a nervous laugh. 10 billion traits, one draw per day. I do the math in my head. 365 days a year. So 100 years is only 36,500 traits. I couldn't get all the traits even in a dozen lifetimes. Suddenly, a little golden slot machine pops up in front of me.
Today's trait hasn't been drawn. Draw now?
I told the machine to draw, and that, of course, I would draw. The machine spins and lands.
Congratulations! You've obtained the golden trait, God's Hook. Every throw is a 100% guaranteed hit on your target.
I look around at the raft, and there it is, a hook. I figure the hook must be for grabbing supplies, so I decide to test it out. I swing it and throw it as far as I can into the water, then reel it back in. Except instead of supplies, I pull up a soaking wet woman tangled around a broken raft. Holy crap, why did I just hook a soaking wet beauty? A message pops up?
Congratulations. You have triggered the quest, lending a hand.
Say no more, I have to save her. I dive in and drag her onto my raft, but when I check the quest, it's still not finished. I ask the system why the quest wasn't complete yet.
The target is not out of danger yet.
The system replied, "Life-threatening, huh? Pardon me." I pinch her nose and give her mouth-to-mouth breathing. Still nothing, but then her eyes finally flutter open and she looks right at me. Suddenly, the woman slaps me in the face, maybe because of reflex. But when she realized I was the one helping her, she yelled in panic that she was so sorry, that she didn't know, and that she thought I was. Thought I was a pervert? I asked in a sarcastic voice. She said that she was truly sorry and would make it up to me, and that if there was anything I needed, I just had to ask. Right then, a message notification pops up, a private message. I open it up and it's from Linda, asking if that was me and saying it was so good to know I was still alive. She claimed that back at the mall, she had been forced because Mr. Zachary had threatened her family's project, and that if she hadn't gone with him, her family would have been ruined. She asked if I blamed her, adding that she had always known I was the person who treated her best, and asking if my promise to always protect her still stood. I typed back that the past was the past and to leave it behind. adding that besides, I was not alone anymore, and telling her to take care of herself. I just smirked. Did this girl think I was a fool? That rich man probably abandoned her in this world. Who would want a gold digger in this apocalypse after all? Serve her right. Then I turned back to the woman I just fished out of the sea, telling her I was Jack and asking her name. She replied that her name was Sophia, so I reminded her that she had said I could ask for anything I needed.
As long as it's not too much,
She said in a desperate tone. I told her not to worry and that it would not be unreasonable. Meanwhile, out in the middle of a storm somewhere, Linda is scheming. She's thinking to herself that a guy like me could never really let her go, that if she just plays the victim a little, I'll cave. So she calls me again and again. When the video connects, she puts on this pitiful little voice.
Jack, I'm so scared,
She says, and then she spots Sophia standing right next to me on the video feed and freezes. I tell Sophia that that was my ex-girlfriend, Linda. Linda loses it.
Jack, how dare you find another woman?
Sophia doesn't even blink.
Miss Linda, you two have already broken up. Who Jack is with is none of your business.
Linda glares at her, but then her expression shifts, like she's talking herself into something. She's convinced herself Sophia is fake, that I'm just doing this to make her jealous so she'll come crawling back. She mutters to herself that it had to be. Then out loud, all sweet again, she apologizes and says she shouldn't have bothered me, but she was so hungry and thirsty and had nothing left, asking if I could share some supplies with her, whether food or water. I have the supplies, I tell her, but I'd rather feed them to the fish than give a single drop to you. Don't ever contact me again. I don't want Sophia to get the wrong idea. I hang up right there. Linda screeches about how I dared hang up on her.
Jack, you loser. You're going to regret this. You'll regret it.
And right behind her, Zachary walks up and agrees that I was just too arrogant for a poor bastard. But then he just scoffs that Linda couldn't even keep her backup guy in check. Linda tells him that something is fishy. I'm not someone this cold. She starts thinking out loud, saying I must have had some crazy stroke of luck that I actually managed to get supplies and even found a woman. Zachary cuts her off, telling her that was enough and that I was just a small-time loser, reminding her that he, Zachary, had built an empire from nothing in the old world and it would be no different there.
How arrogant,
He tells her.
Jack supplies and his woman, they'll all be mine sooner or later.
Back on my raft, I'm already thinking about the next move. Gathering resources and upgrading the raft is priority one. Sophia is watching me quietly the whole time, and inside her head she's panicking a little, thinking I look like I don't have any supplies at all, wondering if I think she's useless now. Looking at the nervous Sophia, I ask her what she could actually do if I let her stay, noting that right then what I needed most were supplies. She grabs the hook without hesitation, telling me not to worry and that she would get those supplies for me. Then she throws the hook and hauls up a wooden barrel, and inside her head she's impressed with herself. I laugh and decide to try mine too, throwing my hook clean over a huge wave and snagging even more supplies. But looking at how my hook could be thrown so far away, I'm kinda shocked. It can even bypass the waves? This trait is insane. Suddenly, a message flashes up.
Trait task activated. Use the hook to obtain 500 units of supplies. Current progress, 2.
I looked at the system with sparkling eyes. God's hook. I have to finish this task. After that, Sophia and I spent the rest of the day fishing for supplies as the sun goes down. But looking at how she couldn't catch many barrels, Sophia apologized, worried I'll regret taking her in. But I hand her some bread and water anyway, remarking that it seemed that for other survivors, obtaining these supplies was no easy task, and telling her to eat something first. Since I had agreed to let her stay, we were then partners, and it seemed only natural to support each other. Looking at me, Sophia thought to herself that following someone this powerful and this kind is definitely the right choice. And honestly, in my own head, I'm thinking it wasn't easy finding a free laborer, so I can't let her get away. Basically, we are helping each other. The next morning, a new message appears.
Yesterday's trait is permanently locked. Today's trait has not been drawn. Draw now?
I tell the machine to draw. So, the machine spins again.
Congratulations, host. You have received a golden trait, Max Luck. Your luck will reach the theoretical maximum value.
Since it's about luck, I figure it has to be good for opening crates. Sophia kneels down next to one we just salvaged and gasps at opening the excellent supply crate. I touch it and it bursts open in a wave of light.
Max Luck effect triggered. Congratulations, host. You have received the maximum reward. Obtained. Wood times 50, palm leaf times 30, rope times 20, advanced compressed rations.
Wow. It even has 3 bottles of purified water. Look at all this stuff. I nodded in satisfaction. Sophia instantly scoops everything into her arms, going on about how lucky she is to be following me, and then she spots a small velvet box tucked in with the rest. She opens it and finds a diamond ring inside. A message flashes in front of me.
Trait task initiated. Trigger trait effects 100 times. Current progress 1 out of 100.
Nice, I think. With this trait, I'm basically the god of luck. Even with a trash crate, I could pull a massive haul from it. Suddenly, Sophia came to me and asked what I would do for the ring. Well, I didn't want it, but I can't give it to her for nothing. So, I initiated a trade window in front of her.
Player Jack has initiated a trade. Do you accept?
She stares at the offer in shock. 150 wood, 100 palm leaves, plus food and water.
My god, why are you suddenly giving me all this treasure?
I tell her to relax. It was just a deposit for her. I would officially appoint her as my assistant, and her job is to buy all the chests in the market using my trade earlier. She replied that she understood, and to leave it to her, getting a diamond ring worth $1,000 just to be an assistant is so worth it. Meanwhile, somewhere out in a storm, Linda is typing into the global chat, desperate, asking for help because her raft was leaking, asking if anyone had wood and offering to trade 2 rusty iron nails for it, and begging pros to let her know if there was a stable way to get fresh water. Messages keep scrolling past her, people bragging about hooking wooden chests, getting water and chocolate. And then she spots Sophia's message advertising bulk chest buying, higher rates for better quality, serious inquiries only. Linda got angry and told Zachary that loser Jack was trading with others, asking where he had gotten all those supplies. Zachary mutters that the kid's luck was actually insane and tells her to contact him again using a softer tone. She replied that she got it and would reach out right away, so she tries to message me, but a system message blocks her instead.
Request failed. You have been blacklisted by the other party.
That jerk, Jack. How dare he blacklist me? Think you're a big shot now, huh?
Zachary snaps at her that she was useless, but Linda tells him that he was definitely doing it on purpose, adding that she knew him and that once he cooled off, he would definitely come crawling back to her. Zachary decides that he would deal with me personally. Sure enough, Zachary calls me himself. Yo, Mr. Zachary, I answer. Is your little mistress too exhausted to serve you? He says, all smug, that I don't need to be sarcastic like that because once the game was over, the company still needed talent like me, and he was keeping that project lead position open for me. With a nice tone, he asked if I got quite a few supplies from fishing. What kind of good stuff could you possibly get from fishing? I say. I'm just naturally lucky. Every single chest dropped max level rewards. Zachary became angry when he saw my smug face, so he urged me to spit it out and tell him what I wanted in exchange for my secret. I told him to hand over all his treasure chests and then I would teach him. Since President Zachary is so powerful, shouldn't treasure chests be easy for you to find? His face became even angrier, all wounded pride, but in the end, he decided to send me all his chests. After receiving my gift, I told him, with a straight face, that the system had a mind of its own, explaining that as long as he acted humble enough before opening a chest and addressed it with enough respect, ideally kneeling and calling it daddy, the better the rewards would be. I can practically hear him falling for it. He mutters to himself that a loser would always be a loser, thinking that with a brain like that, they didn't even need to lift a finger, and that he wouldn't survive this stupid game with ease. After fooling the fat pig, I hang up on him. Stupid empty promises. I've been immune to that crap for a long time. Meanwhile, Sophia keeps working the trading interface behind me, buying up chests left and right. She had collected 100 treasure chests in total. After I feel enough, we crack the chests open all at once, and coins, weapons, and supplies come pouring out. The system then chimed in.
Congratulations, host. You've triggered the trade effect. Max luck is now permanently active.
Sophia just stares at the pile.
They're all maxed out rewards. Boss, did you hack the system?
Then another message hits.
Congratulations to player Jack for exceeding the resource limit. The raft has been upgraded to level 5.
Suddenly, my raft transforms right in front of us into a full-sized wooden ship. Out in the storm, other survivors are barely holding on. Some old guy is gnawing on moldy bread, grateful just to have something to eat. A young man nearby is drenched and furious, complaining that the wind's been blowing all day and the fresh water is long gone. Then a message goes out to everyone.
Player Jack's raft has reached level 5. The newbie protection period has ended early.
Meanwhile, I'm stretched out on a lounge chair on my new deck, sun shining, while Sophia drops a grape into my mouth. The old man near my boat got super salty about how that was fair, wondering why I got a sailboat and grapes while they were stuck gnawing on moldy buns. The young man punches his own raft in frustration, yelling that I must have cheated, convincing himself about how else I could have leveled up so quickly, and warning that he was reporting me for definitely cheating. Meanwhile, Linda stands next to Zachary, working him over. Linda tells him that low-life loser Jack had just gotten lucky and found a bug in the system. She kept urging him what was wrong with kowtowing and calling the system Daddy. Since great men didn't sweat the small stuff, once he built a ship bigger than me, they would make me kowtow to them in circles. He pictures himself on a throne with me bowing before him and laughs.
Yes! Make sure he's on his knees. Good!
Then, still full of himself, he actually kneels in front of a green crate on his own raft. He calls out to the system, calling it Daddy, and begging for mercy to give him a way out. But what he got when opening the chest is just a single squid. To be more funny, the squid attacks him with its dark ink. Zachary, with all the ink in his face, screams at the squid that he would chop it up and feed it to the fish. That's when 3 rafts flying pirate flags pull up around him, thugs armed with machetes standing on deck. One of them yells at the idiot kneeling over there to hand over all his supplies so they might spare his life. Their leader, a scarred, muscular guy holding a bloody knife, doesn't even bother with him.
Why waste your breath on him? Kill the man and throw him in to feed the fish. The woman and the loot go to whoever grabs them first.
Back on my ship, I draw my next trait.
Congratulations! You've obtained the golden trait, Luban Master. Can assemble any melee weapon within 3 seconds.
A message flashes.
Trait task unlocked. Use Luban Master to repair melee weapons 100 times. Current progress, 1/100.
I look over and Sophia is fumbling with a crossbow, still tightening screws. Looking at how desperate she tried, I told her that at that rate, the sea beasts would be upon us before she even finished tightening those screws. So I stepped in and assembled the whole crossbow myself in seconds, golden light glowing around my hands. After finishing fixing the crossbow, I asked her what she was thinking. If she couldn't do it, she could just ask me for help. We are teammates after all. Sophia couldn't believe her eyes.
Boss, you are so magical. What couldn't you do at this point? How could a normal human fix a crossbow in just a second?
That's when the fog rolls in, and the Seawolf Gang's rafts surround my ship.
Jack, you're dead meat today.
Their leader shouts. One thug says that Zachary was right about this being one hell of a big catch. A young swordsman among them eyes Sophia.
And that babe is gorgeous. She'll be perfect for the boys' entertainment tonight.
Another thug sneers at us to go ahead and yell all we wanted while we still could. Move in, I tell them. This is your end. Zachary suddenly calls out from one of the pirate rafts asking if I was still acting tough at death's door. He then told the pirates that, just as they agreed, they should split the loot and the girls, while he only wanted Jack's head. I looked at them with eager eyes. I dare say it was the perfect timing to test it, to see what kind of loot dropped from those humanoid treasure chests. Suddenly, Sophia fires her crossbow, but the leader parries and laughs it off, asking if she hadn't eaten because the attack power is so trash. The swordman points out that those arrows are Tianfu steel spikes, saying he had seen them on the trading channel and that one was worth 5 people's lives or 3 days of rations, so if they seized them, they'd be rich. Another thug adds that with that ship and those weapons, they would be the kings of those seas. Someone then throws an axe that smashes Sophia's crossbow right out of her hands.
Boss?
She calls out to me, shaken. I pick up a small knife instead. It's okay, they are just stupid pirates. The thug laughs at me.
A knife? Have you lost your damn mind? We're miles apart. Are you trying to slash the air? Kneel and call me Grandpa now, and I might leave your corpse intact.
I don't care about those insults. Instead, I tie several knives to my grappling hook with rope. With a roar, I yell at the system. Attack! I throw the hook, and it sails through the air, releasing all the knives at once, striking several of them down. One of the pirate rafts breaks, and suddenly, a massive shark comes out of the water and eats him alive. Zachary panicked. How could I be this good at throwing hook and knife? But he tried to be calm and still use his brain. He boasted that my hook was now gone and said,
Let's see what you can do now.
The pirate leader agreed. Without the hook, I'm worthless. Nobody. I laughed. Who the fuck said I only had one hook? A message flashed in my eyes.
Trait triggered. Luban Master.
With that, I summoned a rope and blade, then created a new hook. Then I hurled it straight into their rafts, smashing them apart and dumping everyone into the water.
What the heck?
Zachary screams, then starts panicking.
It's a misunderstanding. It's all a mistake. Let's talk. I'll give you all my supplies.
I give him a cold smirk. If you want to talk, then talk to my blade. With that, I throw another knife in my hook and sink his raft entirely. When drowning in water, the swordsman begs for mercy, claiming it was all Zachary, that the wretch came up with the idea and said I was a fat sheep, telling me to take it up with him since he was the one I wanted. Another thug backs him up, agreeing that Zachary was the one who incited them to rob me.
Shut up, you two useless cowards.
Zachary snarls, and in the chaos, he actually stabs the swordsman and they end up fighting each other in the bloody water. Later, out on a piece of floating debris, Linda could see a shark fin cut through the water toward them.
Stop the fighting! A big shark is coming to us!
She screams to Zachary. Zachary instantly grabs her toward a broken raft before paddling away as fast as he can. Behind them, the shark finally killed all the other pirates. But of course, I won't let that fat pig go away with ease, so I activated my skill.
Trait triggered. Luban Master. Progress +1.
With the skill activated, I created a more powerful version of the crossbow for Sophia. Sophia knew what I wanted, so she fired her newly repaired crossbow and aimed it at the enemy. The arrow cleanly hits Zachary in the leg. The man shrieks for them like he almost died, swearing he wouldn't let me get away with it and that he would definitely come back for revenge. When Sophia urged me to catch them, I stopped her. In those exploration zones, we didn't have many powerful weapons yet, so if we ran into a large group of raiders, we might not come out on top. But Sophia was still salty. She asked if we were just going to let them escape like that. I nodded calmly. They were just two broken stray dogs. Living would be more agonizing than death for them. After letting them go, Sophia started counting the loot. We had seized over 4,000 items from all the pirates. I remarked that that was not bad, adding that it had been a long day and it was time for dinner. So I created a new knife from my skill and used it to kill a fish in the water. Suddenly, a message pops up.
Congratulations. Trait effect triggered 100 times. Golden trait Luban Master is now permanently fixed.
Then, because of my constant buying in the market, the system announced a notification for all players.
Trading volume rising. Unlocked new item. Deep sea crystals. Use them to trade for supplies or upgrade ship and weapon levels.
People in the system message began a rapid chat.
Direct upgrades? I don't have to stockpile wood forever anymore.
Looking at all the hype, Sophia calls it perfect timing and tells me to put the surplus supplies on the trading platform. That night, she sets down a bowl of strange purple soup and moldy crackers in front of me, apologizing. She said she had never cooked before. I looked at the food and took a bite of the overcooked fish. It's not great, but I brush it off. It's not your fault. At worst, I'll just catch a few more fish. So, I walked outside the cabin and cast my hook into the dark water. Suddenly, I get a message right away.
Congratulations! Triggered God's hook and max luck.
Instead of a fish, I hook a raft with a woman in a pink maid outfit cooking over a stove on it. Wow, how lucky I am. I need a cook, and the system gave me one in a single hook?
Huh? Who are you people? What do you want?
She demands, startled. I laugh, asking her what she thought we were doing in the middle of the night while still fishing her to my boat. After getting caught in my boat, she cried.
Why are you doing this to me?
She snaps back. Holding her empty pan, she yelled at me.
Listen, I spent all day sun-drying salt from seawater, used wild fruits for flavor, and painstakingly stewed it for 4 hours, and you didn't even leave me a drop of soup.
Sophia doesn't bother arguing with her. She just looked at me and begged, saying that we needed her as our cook. The food was indeed amazing. I nodded, and look at the new girl, introduced myself saying that my name is Jack, and explaining that I had chicken, duck, beef, and mutton, but was missing a good chef, asking if she cared to join us.
Those are the most luxurious ingredients on the sea, and you have them all? I'm in. I want to join. It's better for me than travel alone with those ugly sharks.
After joining my ship, she mentioned me that she'd spotted something called the floating trade port on her travels, a place with all kinds of premium items that get banned on regular platforms. Let's head to that trade port tomorrow to check it out, I decide. The next day, we walk through the bustling port. Merchants are shouting out deals left and right. One is hawking a big squid for 15 crystals, and Daisy, the chef girl, is amazed to see that the squid sells out that fast on the market. But Sophia was clearly not impressed. She mentioned that our ship got half a ton of the squid sitting in storage, stinking the place up. Hearing that, Daisy couldn't control his shock. She even jokes that Sophia and I must have raided a Tyrannosaurus nest or something. When she saw another merchant selling an intact freshwater funnel that produces half a liter of drinking water a day for 30 crystals, Daisy practically begs me to buy it, calling it a legendary water purifier you can't even get with money. But I just sigh, because Sophia already tells her I got a high-grade water purification pool the day before that produces a full ton a day. Again, Daisy couldn't control her emotion. She apologizes, feeling a little out of her depth, and swears to herself she won't look down on me again. Then we hear a slave trader shouting about a healthy female slave, a hard worker who'll keep you warm at night, for only 50 crystals. We look over and see a girl, chained and bruised, on the ground. I took a deep breath. In this crazy world, if people couldn't do anything, being slave was their last hope. Suddenly, a fight broke out near us. Some crooked man, the sea wolf leader or something, talked at a girl named Chloe with a disgusting voice. He said something about how once his gang sets their sights on something, they always get it. And now, they want Chloe as their plaything. One of the thugs taunts her, saying she's more interesting than the slaves who just crawl around begging and were sold a moment ago. Chloe got pretty annoyed, so she kicked him in his bird.
Get lost.
The other gang member got angry and kicked her back. One shouts to cripple her, while another said to break her limbs and sell her off for pocket change once they were done with her. One even smirked and yelled at her to stop fighting because nobody was coming to save her. That's when an arrow flies out of nowhere and scratches the boss's cheek.
Who the heck just ambushed me?
He shouts, "You are just a bunch of trash. Get out here or all of you will get wrecked." The thug asks if I dared mess with the Sea Wolf gang and if I had a death wish. Sea wolves? I say. You look more like a bunch of barking seals in heat to me. But I draw 2 daggers. They laugh at me, asking if I was there to perform a circus act and shouting to get out here for real. Because I don't move even an inch. They charge, but I throw the daggers with everything I've got.
Trait triggered. Max luck.
The system announces, and the blades ricochet off the environment before slamming into 2 of the thugs one after another. One of them screams about how that actually hit and what kind of insane luck it was. I tell them I had always been pretty lucky, but Chloe, on the side, mumbling that it wasn't luck, but terrifying calculation on par with a super brain, adding that if she could master it, her swordsmanship would reach a whole new level. One of the beaten thugs starts begging for mercy, promising to give me everything he had. But I just told them to leave all they got here, then get lost, or I would really kill them. After they scatter, Sophia tallies up the haul, 125 items total, all safely stored. But somehow, the girl I helped earlier, Chloe, run toward me and kneel.
I want to learn your anticipation and absolute control. Please, teach me.
Back at the Seawolf base, the gang leader is sitting on his throne while Linda massages his shoulders. Zachary was coaxing her along, telling her if she just serves the gang leader well for now, she can still get revenge on me. Suddenly, the beaten thugs stumble in, shouting that the brothers were robbed. The leader gets angry and asks in disbelief if someone actually dared rob the Seawolf gang. The beaten thugs pull up an image from their system interface, saying it was this guy. When seeing my face, Zachary shouted that the man in the picture is his enemy as well.
How dare this scrappy man dare to taunt Seawolf base? We need to get revenge.
Back at the port, Sophia asks if we should retreat now that we've made enemies of the Seawolf gang. But I shake my head. There's no rush. I'm actually waiting for them to deliver more upgrade materials, since they always seem to bring exactly what I need whenever they try to rob me. That night at the market, the final item up for bid gets announced inside a mysterious cage, a mysterious deep-sea treasure. When the cloth comes off, there's a caged woman with long blue hair inside. And a system message triggers right there.
Main quest triggered. Mystery of the Deep Sea. Quest reward. Legendary supply crate. the part of the sea god set.
Hearing the legendary crate, I got shocked. Most crates only come in poor, common, or rare tiers, so a legendary one might be something super duper valuable. This is the golden opportunity. Someone immediately jumps into the bidding, throwing out numbers like 150 crystals, calling her his ship's new centerpiece. But I outbid him without even blinking, 500 crystals. Hearing my bid, the man loses it, accusing me of faking bids since there's no way I could have collected that many crystals in just 4 days. Yet when I dump a massive pile of glowing blue crystals right on the table in front of them, everyone gets silent. The man backs down, muttering that I must be the one with the level 5 sailboat, while Chloe watches from the crowd, wondering just how many more aces I've got up my sleeve. After the easy bid, the auctioneer hands her over to me. I tell her I was her boss then, reassuring her to follow me and she would never go hungry or cold again. Daisy chimes in that she couldn't go wrong following the boss. Lily, the girl with the blue hair, thanks me for my protection. I announce to all my crew that the shift was over and it was time to feast. We stop at a food stall and eat a huge purple tentacle for a midnight snack. Not long after, a whole fleet of Sea Wolf gang ships comes barreling toward the port, Zachary standing right at the front. Looking at the thugs, people start screaming and scattering. Sophia got alarmed and informed me that it was Zachary with at least 20 men, and that their ship had reached level 5. But looking at how calm I was, Daisy asked why I wasn't worried. Worried? Of course I'm worried, I told her. If the Sea Wolf gang doesn't hurry up and deliver materials to upgrade the raft, there won't be enough room for everyone to sleep tonight. Meanwhile, Zachary shouts that I shouldn't think I was getting out of there alive. As expected of the self-made Mr. Zachary, I call back, even with a broken leg, you're out here plundering. Talk about dedication.
Chop off both his arms and legs,
he screams.
I want him squirming like a maggot, begging for mercy.
Feeling the fight was gonna break off again, Chloe steps forward, saying to leave it to her. I just said okay, then told those ugly thugs that if they had come earlier, it might have been a bit troublesome. But unfortunately for them, a new day had dawned. I could see the bright sun was appearing now. Zachary scoffs that I was just putting on a show, ordering his men to get me and chop me to pieces. His thugs charge through me, and right then a new message pops up.
Today's trait has not been drawn yet. Draw now?
I tell the system to draw a trait to shut those guys up.
Max luck triggered. Successfully drew golden trait. Brute force power. Effect. Strength and burst increased by 500% for 3 minutes.
With that new skill, I punch the first guy so hard he flies backward into the water. Someone stammers, asking if I was even human. But Zachary yells at his men asking what the heck they were afraid of, reminding them that there were so many of them and that even if I was cheating, I was dead meat that day. I call out to Sophia to cover the left and watch the right. But Daisy felt left out and asked what about her. I just shut her up, she was in charge of cheering. With that, the real fight was here. Between me, Chloe, and Sophia, we tear through their whole crew in minutes. I even smash a crate straight over one guy's head, make him dizzy. Looking at that, Daisy cheers that the boss was the best. With a surge of rage, Zachary himself charges at me with a sword.
Jack, my leg broken is your fault. I'll torture you to death.
Yelling brute force power, I block his blade with my bare fist, shattering it, then drive a punch straight into his gut. After my punch, Zachary hits the ground, broken, and screams that if he can't kill me, he'll take out someone else first. He tries one last desperate attack and aims at Daisy, but I kick him instead. Good boy, I tell him after tying him up. What gifts do you have for your daddy? When I search him, I got lucky and pull out a golden scroll. Wow, never knew he had something this good on him. Suddenly, a message triggers.
Congratulations. You've obtained the level 6 brig blueprint. Collect 200 deep sea ores to upgrade your level 5 sloop to a level 6 brig.
Feeling no way out, Zachary, still being tied up, rolls off the dock and swims away in a panic. But I let him go. He escaped. It's fine. Maybe he'll bring even better loot next time. Back on deck, Lily, the new girl, looks over the blueprint. We need a lot of the deep sea ores for upgrading, but she thinks she can sense where the deep sea ores are. Wow, I'm super impressed. I never expected she had that kind of ability. It was great. We need to move out. As we sail out, Sophia lays out the problem. Low-quality diving suits cost over 100 crystals with a 70% failure rate, and even the best ones on the market only last 10 minutes underwater. Harvesting deep-sea resources with regular gear just isn't worth the cost. I took a deep breath. A new problem again. So I grumble at the system a little. System, I need a golden trait that helps me find supplies underwater. That max luck trait is useless in this situation. What's the point of giving me a stack of land-based skills? Do you want me to run a farm or race cars on the deck? Or maybe host a concert and give therapy to passing dolphins?
Reminder.
The system replies.
The host's draw attempts can be accumulated. A guaranteed 10-pull pity system.
Wow, system, you are so OP. Now we're talking. After that, Sophia went back to working the trading terminal, buying up chess, while Daisy brought me a plate of something delicious to try. 10 days passed like that. Then Lily warned me about a massive super thunderstorm cell heading our way at 40 kilometers an hour, due to hit within 48 hours. Okay, I needed my cheat system right then. So, I closed my eyes and pulled my draw.
Congratulations! You have drawn the golden survival trait, Water Breath.
My god-tier trait. Finally. Down on the seabed somewhere, a crew of divers was chipping away at a rock formation, complaining about the quality of the ore, joking that at least there weren't many sharks around there. One of them asked what that was at the 10 o'clock position. Something strange was swimming toward them. They shone their lights and saw me swimming toward them, completely casual, in my normal clothes, no diving suit at all. They exclaimed in shock, asking if I wasn't wearing a diving suit, if I really dived 50 meters just holding my breath, if I was even human, and noting that at that depth my organs should be crushed, so there was no way I was alive. A blonde diver among them, Hannah, stared in disbelief.
No suit, no thrusters. This defies all laws of fluid mechanics and physiology. So crazy.
I waved my hand, smiling like this was a children's plaything. One of them yelled that I was insane, but I ignored that. I kept going deeper and deeper. That was when I stumbled onto a massive, ruined underwater palace surrounded by glowing crystals. Combining water breath with max luck to hunt for deep sea ore was almost too easy. I just couldn't figure out why there was a palace down there and why it was so wrecked. Back on the ship, the crew was starting to worry. Daisy fretted that it had been half an hour already. But Sophia told her not to panic, saying that if I said it was fine, it was fine. And besides, we were using an excellent grade safety rope, so if anything went wrong, they could just pull me straight up. Then the rope snapped. Chloe panicked and said that something was wrong and she would go down and look for me. Lily didn't even hesitate either. She just leaped over the railing and dived straight in. Down below, the divers were getting nervous about their oxygen. One diver said it was time to pull out, noting there hadn't been any movement from me for a while and saying to go. A warning flashed in their gear about low oxygen. Hannah refused to leave, asking how they could just stand by and watch me die. What if I could still be saved? Her crewmate yelled at her, asking what she was doing and telling her to come back, as there wasn't enough oxygen for 2 people to make it back. But she swam deeper anyway, ignoring every warning blaring in her ears, until she found me meditating peacefully in the middle of all those glowing crystals. She gasped in relief that I was still alive. Her crewmate echoed in shock too, asking if I was still alive. Another screamed that I was a ghost, a deep sea ghost, and urged them to run. They all bolted, leaving Hannah alone with me. That was when I opened my eyes and asked if I really looked that scary. Right then, a message confirmed it.
100 minutes reached. The underwater breathing trait is now permanently solidified.
I smirked. With this, all the deep sea ore out there was mine from then on. But Hannah's oxygen was completely gone by this point, and she was struggling, reaching a hand out toward me. She gasped that it was so close, right before losing consciousness. I caught her before she could sink. Somewhere in her fading thoughts, she couldn't believe I didn't even have a breathing mask, wondering how I had managed all of this. Thank God Lily found us right as I was holding her. She remarked that she couldn't believe I could dive that deep and asked who this unconscious girl in my hand was. Up on the surface, one of the divers was panicking near his boat, convinced Hannah and I were both long dead by then. But we burst up out of the water together, flying through the air, and landed clean on the deck of my ship. When I set Hannah down gently, Daisy told me I scared her to death, saying she thought something had happened to me. But I told her I would answer everything later. We had to see the loot first. Looking at the loot, Sophia identified the huge pile as deep sea ore. A message confirmed it.
Upgrade materials detected. Upgrade level 5. Sloop to level 6. Brig?
I nodded and commanded it to upgrade. The ship then glowed and transformed into a massive, luxurious brig with multiple masts. Daisy said their new home was fucking awesome, and Chloe agreed. She added that it was huge and so cool. Sophia ran through the stats, noting that structural strength had increased by 100%, sailing speed by 50%, and pointing out the fully automated ballista array, concluding that it was definitely the finest ship in those waters. I stretched out and said, not bad, adding that finally it was a place where I could sleep with my legs stretched out. But Lily warned us that the thunderstorm was coming early and we wouldn't make it out in time. I looked up and saw it, a massive black storm cloud crawling with purple lightning, looming right over us.
Tier 6, Thunderstorm, has entered the exploration zone.
The system announced.
Good luck, players.
And that was exactly where things got real. The old guy in the raft beside us asked if they were kidding, noting that hardly any ships could survive a Tier 4 storm right then. Meanwhile, some younger guy on a bigger boat was screaming at his crew to tie themselves down, telling them the ship was a goner and they should just focus on staying afloat. All around, survivors on different rafts were panicking as the waves crashed over them, some of them crying that they were all going down together. On my ship, things were a little calmer, but only a little. Sophia was watching the radar in the bridge and told me the starboard hull plating was slightly deformed, that structural integrity was fine, but our damage had gone up 30%. I told her to keep everything under control first. But damn, a massive whirlpool opened up directly in our path and the alarms started blaring. Sophia shouted a warning that the ship was being sucked in and asked what we should do. Without wasting any time, I urged everyone to the sails. 1, 2, 3, unfurl the sails, I yelled. Lily was fighting the wheel with everything she had, shouting to steer outward, but the whirlpool dragged us deeper anyway, and she got thrown clean overboard. Chloe, take the helm! Sophia, calculate all escape routes! I shouted, and then I just dived straight into the middle of the whirlpool after her. I need to help my teammate! Meanwhile, when Lily opened her eyes, she suddenly was floating inside a massive, ruined underwater city, sealed off in its own protective bubble. She looked as stunned as ever.
Why this place seems familiar?
She said. Then, an abrupt memories appear in her mind. This enormous, ancient figure appeared before us, a merman wearing a coral crown, and his voice filled the whole space.
The energy core is depleting. Atlantis remains silent. Only by finding the Outworlder who carries the primordial light can the core be rebooted and save civilization from annihilation. Go now, my Princess Lily. Find him and guide him. He is our last hope.
Suddenly, the vision faded and Lily looked shaken.
Father,
she gasped, and somehow a blue aura enveloped her as she transformed from a normal woman into a full mermaid, floating above the wrecked city. I looked at everything that happened in front of my eyes. So, that's why Lily is linked to a deep-sea crystal. She was a mermaid. Then she got annoyed with the whirlpool and urged it to quiet down, while unleashing her power outward. With that, the storm vanished instantly. After that, she floated away to the ship. Looking at how bizarre that Lily somehow turned into a mermaid, Daisy and Sophia practically almost fainted. Once Lily and I were both safely back on the ship, I asked her what exactly was going on. She just explained that her father had exhausted his power to prophesy that only the holder of the primordial energy could restart the deep-sea core and save Atlantis. She told me that when she first met me, her heart of the ocean resonated strongly, so she believed I was the one from the prophecy and asked me to help them. I took a deep breath. See, I told her to look at the situation we were in and that our primary goal was still to gather resources and survive until the end. But then I smiled. I added that she was one of us, the ship crew, and I would help her as much as I could. She could only thank me for my promise, saying she had also regained some of her abilities and could repay me with the power of the ocean. Not long after, Sophia told me a modified ship was approaching from the southwest. It turned out to be a small raft with a makeshift sail. After coming close, the one standing on it was a woman who introduced herself as Hannah, complimenting the exquisite build of the sails and ballista matrix, offering to fix ballistas, cannons, or ship engines, and begging to join us. The rest of the crew eyed her a little skeptically, but she didn't back down. She insisted she couldn't let the chance slip away after finding such a perfect ship, asking for a trial run for only 1 crystal a month, adding that she didn't even need pay, just room and board. Wow, how cheap. It was basically free labor, so I told her it was a deal. When she stepped onto the deck, I recognized her immediately, since I was the one who pulled her out of the ocean back when I was hunting for deep-sea ore. Hannah was also shocked. He never knew I was this strong to have a level 6 boat. Then she thanked me for saving her life back there. I told Sophia to get her some tools and a bunk, placing her in charge of mechanical maintenance. She thanked me and promised not to let me down, grabbing a wrench right away to start inspecting the ballista system. She pointed out the drive shaft was badly worn and needed replacing, or the ballista would jam. Out on the open water, survivors were cheering that they made it through the storm, one guy laughing that surviving something like that meant great fortune was coming their way. But that celebration didn't last long, because 3 massive pirate ships came crashing through the waves, flying the Sea Wolf gang flag, plowing straight through the smaller rafts. Their leader, the scarred gang boss, was standing on the main deck with his crew, along with Linda and Zachary, and he ordered his men to start the raid. On my ship, Hannah was sitting on the deck, carefully cleaning some mechanical part, and Daisy offered her food, but she said she couldn't eat until she fixed it. That was when the fog parted and the Sea Wolf fleet surrounded us. Their leader shouted that they finally cornered that jerk Jack. Sophia identified him right away as the Sea Wolf gang leader. Linda looked over at me, sitting calmly with tea in hand, surrounded by the crew, and muttered bitterly that after dumping me, I somehow ended up with all these girls looking after me while she was stuck serving pirates. She turned to her new boss and suggested that if he took me out, everything I had, supplies, and women both, would be his. The gang leader grabbed her chin roughly, calling her a little wretch who knew what to say, and telling me I was dead meat that day. I sipped my tea and asked if they were relying on just those few level 5 sloops ship. Got angry, their boss ordered his men to riddle me with arrows to punish me for robbing their member in the port before. Dozens of arrows flew at me, but a glowing shield surrounded my ship and deflected every single one without a scratch. Their leader growled that there wasn't even a scratch, declaring it impossible and realizing the ship was level 6. Zachary was baffled too, wondering aloud where I got the materials since the Iron Anchor Alliance apparently had a monopoly on deep-sea crystals. Linda started getting nervous, suggesting maybe they should just call it off, but the gang leader refused, swearing he'd kill me no matter what. I told Sophia to let them witness the power of a level 6 brig. Suddenly, my ballistas opened fire, launching bolts so powerful they tore straight through the pirate ships like cannon fire, and the thugs could only watch in horror as their fleet burned and sank around them. Zachary tried to rally everyone, guessing that we must have burned through all our resources on the shield and couldn't have much firepower left, so if they just survived this wave, they could still turn things around. Sophia warned me we were almost out of crossbow bolts. Perfect timing actually, since I hadn't done a trait draw in 10 days. I said to see what kind of good stuff the system could give me that time.
Congratulations! You've obtained the golden trait, Infinite Firepower.
I laughed. Talk about perfect timing! System, I'm really starting to love you more and more! The ballistas reloaded themselves instantly, glowing brighter than before, right as the gang leader ordered his men to charge, thinking we were defenseless. Instead, they got hit with a brand new barrage that completely obliterated their remaining ship in a fireball, throwing the survivors into the ocean. Out in the water, Linda clung to some debris, crying, while the gang leader threatened to skin Zachary alive if this loss wasn't covered somehow. Zachary suggested our bolts probably couldn't hit anything underwater, so if they dived and sneaked up, they could still take us. So, the leader ordered everyone to grab their gear and swim over. Sophia asked me what the next plan was. There, I remembered Lily mentioning she could summon help from sea creatures using her necklace. So, I asked her about it, and Lily confirmed that the Atlantis royal bloodline could commune with the denizens of the deep, explaining that during her time on the ship she had been trying to reach out to the creatures in those waters, calling upon the guardians of the deep to answer her call. In that exact moment, glowing purple jellyfish rose up around the swimming pirates, wrapping their tentacles around them and shocking them senseless. The gang leader still pushed his men forward through the pain. Daisy was amazed watching Lily command sea beasts like that. I also agreed. With Lily on my side, I thought to myself, I could command a whole army of sea beasts and take the entire ocean. Somehow, the gang leader and Zachary managed to climb aboard my ship anyway. Right then, a massive level 6 sea serpent breached nearby, roaring, and Linda recognized it immediately as something dangerous. Heh, I said, watching the leader and Zachary draw their swords. The three of you are hand-delivering yourselves to me. How thoughtful. Meanwhile, Chloe was now fighting with the gang leader. But the gang leader taunted Chloe that she had nice moves, but her strength was lacking. I sat back and watched the fight, and something clicked. I realized I could trigger my Divine Vision trait mid-combat, not just when I was opening chests. So I called out to Chloe to raise her wrist higher, step, and drop her weight, trying to guide her so she could do better. Chloe adjusted his stance and parried a heavy blow that should have flattened her, when the leader snarled in confusion as he got knocked back. I called out that there was an opening, and to drive with her legs, I coached her to focus all her might into the tip of the blade. With my guide, she pushed him back hard. She heard my voice that swordsmanship wasn't about rigid moves, but redirection, telling her to use his own strength against him in a counter-strike. Lily watched, stunned that I was basically coaching a live fight, saying every casual-sounding word I said was actually landing on a vital pressure point. Meanwhile, Linda crept closer to me, putting on her usual pitiful act, accusing me of only caring about all these other women and never lifting a finger for her. The gang leader drew a combat knife, refusing to believe any of this was real skill, and charged Chloe again. But Chloe was improved, so she dodged cleanly and slashed him across the chest. In the end, he dropped, defeated, and Daisy cheered for her. Zachary saw his chance and rushed me with a dagger. Linda, feeling ignored by me, screamed for him to kill me. But I just calmly threw my hot tea in his face and kicked him hard across the deck. A sneak attack, huh? I said. Mr. Zachary, after all this time, you're still relying on these dirty tricks. Seeing him go down, Linda immediately dropped to her knees in front of me, doing a complete about-face.
How could a former simp like Jack become this strong? Jack, I know I was wrong. I was blind before, but you know I still care about you.
I asked who was the one yelling to kill me just then, shouting the loudest. She insisted she was just trying to lower the pirate's guard, begging me to let her come back to me and promising to do anything. But I laughed at her face. I told her bluntly that she was too filthy for me.
Jack, you're joking, right? I know you still love me. You said you'd love me forever.
Zachary got super salty. He called her a wretch, asking how she dared play him after he provided her with food and clothes, snarling for her to die. He stabbed her in the back before she could react. After killing Linda, Zachary panicked and rolled himself off the ship into the water to escape. Sophia told me that I must catch him now for real, but I said nope. I told her there was no need to chase, since he had fled into the danger zone and wouldn't last 3 days. After all the fight, I used my hook to snag the treasure chest the pirates left floating behind, and couldn't help but wonder just how many people he must have robbed to have all this on him. A new message popped up.
Congratulations. You have obtained the Level 8 Steamboat Blueprint. Collect high-energy crystals and steam cores to upgrade the Level 7 brig to a Level 8 steamboat.
When I showed Sophia the blueprint, she pointed out a problem right away. All the upgrade materials were monopolized by the Iron Anchor Alliance. Okay then, we need to go pay the Iron Anchor Alliance a visit. So, we sailed into a stretch of freezing ice fog, thick with icebergs. Daisy complained it was cold enough to freeze anyone to death, and Sophia warned that visibility had dropped below 50 meters, with multiple large biological signatures nearby. She thought it was too dangerous. I asked Lily to check for resources. She sensed a strong energy reading due east, a high-energy crystal vein. Finally. Without me knowing, the sun set again, so I spun the trait machine.
Congratulations! You've obtained a golden trait, Super Armor Aura.
I don't know what that is, but it's probably good. Then I told everyone to get the diving gear ready. Hannah and Lily came with me underwater. At 150 meters down, in water that should be freezing, I used my new skill, the Super Armor Aura. With this aura, the cold won't ever harm us. Then, we found a massive canyon lined with glowing high-energy crystals, more than enough to fully arm our ship. But there was a scarred level 7 shark lurking near them. Lily said she should be able to hypnotize it, and she calmed the massive creature with a pulse of purple energy. After handling the shark, I told everyone to move fast, and Hannah and Sophia started drilling out crystals as quickly as they could. Meanwhile, up above, an armored Iron Anchor steamship approached. Their captain looked through his binoculars, muttering about how pathetic it was that his last man got taken out by a mere level 6 ship, and ordered a probing shot fired at us. Daisy panicked when the shell hit, but Sophia told everyone not to panic and deployed the shields instead. A golden dome formed around the ship, and the shell exploded harmlessly against it. The captain couldn't believe a level 6 ship's shield could withstand his level 7 artillery and ordered a full barrage to crush it. Down below, the explosions rippled through the water and woke the sleeping shark, its eyes snapping open and glowing red. Realizing the danger, I told everyone to swim up to the surface, but Hannah warned it was too fast to outrun, and our oxygen wouldn't last. I told them I would draw the shark away and to find a chance to get back on the ship. Up in the bridge, Sophia watched the shields drop to 63%, warning they could only take 2 more hits like that, and Daisy panicked that I wasn't even there to help. Meanwhile, on the iron anchor ship, the captain ordered his men to fire again and blow my ship out of the water right in front of him. Instead, I came flying straight out of the ocean using my grappling hook and landed gracefully right on his deck. Sorry, I told him, just borrowing the space for a second. With a flick of my fingers, here's a little surprise for you. I threw my hook straight into the enraged shark, then tied the rope to a sturdy post on his ship, chaining the monster right to his own vessel before jumping back into the water myself. The captain scrambled to order everyone to fire at the shark's head, but it only enraged it more. He ordered the ship to turn and run, but it was too late. The shark tore a massive chunk out of the hull, and the ship started to sink, throwing the captain into the freezing water. He begged for someone to save him as one of his own officers got swallowed whole. But I stood on my deck with a megaphone while the captain clung to a scrap of wood in the water. "Heh," I called out.
30 seconds to decide. Surrender or become shark bait.
The captain screamed that he would talk and do anything I said, telling everything. So, I told him it was simple. First, I wanted the Iron Anchor Alliance's resource maps for the danger zone, and second, his boss Black Shark's next move. He promised to give it all to me if I just saved him. So, we pulled him aboard. Once he was on the ship, shivering, he started talking. He told us that Black Shark controlled 70% of the danger zone's high-energy ore, had 5 level 7 steamboats, and 1 massive level 8 steamship called the Abyssal Roarer, armed with 12 heavy cannons. He warned us not to even think about going there, since 1 volley from a level 8 ship would crumble a level 7's defenses entirely. Hannah said simply that then we'd just upgrade the ship to match theirs. The captain snapped that that was easier said than done, asking how they were going to upgrade when the Iron Anchor Alliance monopolized all steam cores. I asked him who said we had to ask the Iron Anchor Alliance for a core, pointing out the window and asking if there weren't some already floating right there from the destroyed ship. Hannah asked if I meant stripping those wrecks, telling me to leave it to her and guaranteeing she'd strip out every single usable core in a day and a half. Meanwhile, that night, something strange happened out in the water. A colossal eruption of red energy bursting up from the seafloor, sending glowing spores drifting through the current. A system message explained that a leak of abyss energy had mutated the local marine life, and that eating the mutated flesh granted temporary boosts, but too much could cause uncontrollable mutations. Daisy looked horrified at the idea of eating mutated fish, but I decided that we should kill a few extra meal snakes first and see what happened. The captain, still tied up, asked if he could go now since he had told us everything, but I just shook my head. What the rush was, he was still useful. Because of the abyss energy, a massive, heavily mutated lava serpent rose up near the ship, looking super terrifying. Lily also warned that the water was so thick with violent abyss energy that her ability to communicate with sea life was being disrupted. I said there's no need for everyone to do anything. I just leaped forward using my brute force skill and one-punch the monster like Saitama.
Boss, others are just learning to catch level 1 beasts?
Sophia said, stunned after looking at me, finish the monster in 1 hit.
And we just took down a level 6 lava sea serpent.
Looking at the dead monster, Lily warned that the abyss energy inside it was too volatile, and eating it straight might have side effects. That night, Daisy served up a steaming pot of fish soup. As the experiment, I forced the captain to eat the fish soup. Of course, the man panicked, but I don't care. The moment he swallowed the fish, his eyes glowed red and black veins bulged across his face. He broke free of his ropes and went completely berserk, throwing a punch at me. Dang, this thing is too weak. I blocked it easily with my palm. After a while, the captain gagged and thrashed on the floor, and Sophia called out her deduction. After she checked the trading platform, anyone eating beast meat below level 4 went violent, and above level 5 they lost their sanity completely. Heard the result, I urged the system to give me good trait this time.
You want to spin a new trait?
The system sound ringing in my head. Of course I want! I smirked, then spin my daily roll. A message triggered.
Trait obtained. Dawn's new constitution. With this constitution, you could cleanse all the bad toxin in the body.
Yeah, this is it. The trait I need right now. I instantly grabbed the level 6 sea snake soup earlier and ate that. Suddenly, my eyes started turning black, with a sinister aura coming out of me. But the system started to cleanse all the toxin.
Trait triggered. 007 constitution.
My body turned back to normal, but I could sense a big power brewing inside me. Daisy was shocked to see me eat the soup, even after saw how badly it made the captain goes berserk. Everyone also eyed me nervously, asking if I grew scales or I was about to gnaw on the boat. Instead, I punched the metal wall and left a massive dent in it. Yeah, I'm definitely stronger, way stronger than before. Looking at that, Daisy realized
the abyss energy was actually purged inside the boss body.
I laughing with a smug face. My new trait really could purify abyss energy and keep me sane. Trait system, I love you. Chloe then figured if we could safely eat sea beasts like this, our whole crew's combat power could skyrocket. I agreed. With my trait, I could also cleanse the other from toxin. So basically, this soup is our power-up tonic! Out on the water, a raft of desperate survivors was fighting off a giant crab, the old man among them yelling for everyone to hold tight, insisting that if they could just haul this thing in, they'd have enough to trade for 3 days of rations at the trade port. Then a massive level 6 centipede-like beast rose up out of the water above them, and the young man froze, certain it was over. Right then, I leaped off my ship, flying through the air with a massive hammer in hand. Calling out brute force power, I brought it down on the beast's head and crushed it instantly. The old man couldn't believe it, stammering that they couldn't even pierce a level 3 beast's skin after all their effort, and I just crushed a level 6 with one swing. He bowed to me, thanking me for saving their lives, saying the crab they caught was everything they had. I remarked that a level 3 beast was hardly worth the effort. I climbed back to my ship, telling them to be more careful from now on. They stared after me in shock, one of them wondering aloud if this was even real, if the gap between people could really be as vast as 2 entirely different species. That night, the whole crew gathered around a big hot pot loaded with mutated sea beast meat. I told them I had already processed the materials. The time had come to get stronger together. We all dug in. Afterward, Chloe drew her sword and it glowed with new power, slicing clean through a thick metal door. She said the power of every strike had doubled, and her coordination and reaction speed were on a whole different level. Lily said she could sense much further into the ocean then, with everything clear. Hannah exclaimed that blueprints, formulas, and optimization plans were all in her head, adding that she was going to fix the steam core right then and not to stop her. Daisy played happily with a tiny tamed sea manatee, telling everyone to wait up while she ran off to make late-night snacks. Sophia then reported that based on her calculating, everyone's base stats jumped over 40% on average, with special skills getting a real boost too, and nobody showed any sign of going berserk. I just smiled and told her that everything was only the beginning. The next day, Hannah announced that the engine was restarting. A message confirmed it.
Intact steam core and sufficient high-energy crystals detected. Upgrade. Level 6. Brig to level 7. Steamboat?
I gave the command to upgrade. The ship then transformed into a sleek, high-tech steamboat. Daisy wandered into a fully equipped kitchen and could hardly believe it, calling it paradise. Sophia also got the fire control system online and reported that outside of the Iron Anchor Alliance's level 8 ships, we were now the top spec vessel in the whole danger zone. Settling into the captain's chair, I remarked that it was not bad. Then Sophia told me the Iron Anchor Alliance heard about our upgrade and was calling. I had her patch it through, curious what their leader had to say. The call connected, and it was the Alliance leader, sitting on some kind of throne made from a big monster bone. He wondered if I was the one who killed his vanguard and dismantled his ship. "Humph," I replied. "Your men were the ones who started it. As for the ship, I thought it was just junk, so I helped you recycle it." He scoffed. That was indeed just junk, but he demanded that I hand over the woman who controls the sea beasts, offering to grant me a territory in exchange. I told him no way, stating that she was my comrade, but adding that I was very interested in those level 8 steamship blueprints and asking what I had to offer in trade. To test the water, I offered a level 6 sea beast. As I expected, the leader just shook his head. They could kill those level 6 sea beasts themselves. But I pointed out that those beast is free from the toxin after I cleanse it out. People won't get mutated by eating it. Only their power will increase. The leader was so baffled. The trade was super tempting. In the end, he agreed with the offer and sent me the blueprint data. A message confirmed it.
Congratulations! You've obtained the Tier 8 steamship blueprints. Upgrade requirements: 100 units of heavy oil reserves.
The Alliance leader then laughed, gloating that it didn't matter if I had the blueprint, since he controlled all the heavy oil in the entire danger zone. But when looking at the meat that I trade, the leader got angry. Why I only give him so little, when I showed him a lot of meat before? I just smirked. That big chunk is for me and my crew. He should thank me that I let them taste a bit of my cleansed meat. The leader got super angry. He screamed for me to give the blueprint back to him. How dare I tricked him? Furious, he challenged me to a real fight, tomorrow at noon at Boulder Bay, his whole fleet against me.
Do you dare to accept? I hope you'll still be able to smile tomorrow.
Then he cut the call. Sophia worried that just made him angrier, but I told her that right now he was only thinking about how to tear me apart tomorrow, which meant tonight, while he was distracted, we move. That night, me, Hannah, and Lily sneaked into the Iron Anchor base through the dark corridors. Everyone else already sleep because tomorrow they were planning to deploy their flagship, the Abyssal Roar, to crush us completely. Back on his throne, the leader was practically vibrating with anticipation, muttering about how he wanted me dead tomorrow. Meanwhile, 2 Iron Anchor officers chattered in the hallway, one mentioning the boss was personally handling me tomorrow, the other calling it a death wish, since a single volley from a level 8 ship would blow a level 7 to pieces. But suddenly, they heard something outside and spotted my level 7 shark breaching the water, with me, Hannah, and Lily riding on its back straight toward an oil rig. Hannah spotted a sonar detector and warned everyone to hold tight. I used my grappling hook to pull us up onto the platform. The officer spotted us, so I instantly knocked them over. After I slid the door open, there's a massive storage room packed with tanks of heavy oil. Hannah told me there were so many high-purity crystals, explaining it was a triple dynamic passcode lock wired to a self-destruct sensor, and that brute forcing it would take at least 8 hours. I told her we couldn't wait and to just rip the whole thing out, and she agreed, saying dismantling stuff was her specialty and to give her 10 minutes. While she got to work, I quietly knocked out the guard standing watch on the monitor room. On the main monitor behind me, the massive guy on the monitor screamed at the camera. It was a video. In that video, the Alliance leader was calling the guard useless trash and threatening to feed him to the sharks if they failed Lord Blacktide's collection task. Lord Blacktide? So there was a real boss behind the whole Iron Anchor Alliance. I filed that away. Suddenly, a giant tentacle burst straight up through the floor and blocked me in the door. It was Zachary, but he wasn't himself anymore, completely mutated into something hideous, like a monster squid, glaring at me with glowing red eyes.
Jack, I've been waiting for you for a long time.
I asked him to look at who it was, asking if he gave up being human just to become a monster. He cackled.
So what if I'm a monster? You won't leave this place alive today.
Then, he lunged at me with his tentacles, but I only smiled and, activating brute force power, kicked him hard and told him that his new form might be faster, but it left him with way more openings. He roared that he would kill me, while alarms screamed that there was an intruder in the warehouse and all units should support immediately. Hannah, still hacking in the oil rig room, shouted for herself to be faster or she would die here. In the ship, guards rushed in and opened fire, so I grabbed Zachary and used him as a shield to soak up the shots. Hannah came out from a door behind me, shouted that she had dismantled the oil rig and locked the valves so they wouldn't be able to use the oil for at least 3 days. I told her good job and to go, kicking Zachary until he stumbled into the ground. After running for a while, we reached the outside, but there was a dead end. In front of us, there's just the endless sea. Zachary and a wall of guards cut us off from behind. He taunted Hannah and me to jump down and feed the fish, or he would tear us to pieces. I only looked at that pig clown with mocking eyes. I asked if he knew why he would never beat me all this time. Well, it was because he only thought about relying on external power and plundering, whereas I relied on my brain and on partners who watched each other's backs. Then we just jumped. Right before we hit the water, a massive glowing whale burst up from below and caught all of us in its mouth. Zachary screamed in shock, ordering his men to launch the submarines and chase us down. I turned to Lily and remarked that if it weren't for her sea beasts, escaping would have been a lot harder. She replied that it was the least she could do, adding that if not for the Abyss energy transformation, they'd never be able to dive that deep without wetsuits. Looking back, Hannah warned that 3 submarines were pursuing us from behind. Lily realized the danger, so she touched the whale, asking her old friend to go a little faster. Then, I yelled at everyone to hang on as we entered complex terrain. Suddenly, Lily insisted something was strange, noting that her blue necklace crystals got hotter the deeper they went and that something was calling her. Inside the trench, the enemy submarine's commander ordered the other submarine to track the target and slowly encircled them. Looking their way back was blocked, and there was only a dead end in front of them. Hannah panicked, asking what now since our escape route was cut off. I told everyone to calm down. There was only one answer left. We need to go down. They need to trust me. So, the whale plunged straight down the trench, and suddenly we came out into an incredible glowing underwater city. Hannah breathed, asking if those were the ruins of Atlantis. I observed the sword marks and artillery remains, noting that the fall of Atlantis was about more than just energy depletion. There must have been a war that happened before. That's when Lily's eyes went distant and glowing, and a wave of memory hit her. She saw her father, the sea god, sitting on his throne, while a traitor named Carter demanded the energy core, threatening to slaughter every soul in Atlantis if he refused. Her father called him insane, telling him the core was the very foundation of their kingdom. Then some outsider called the Black Tide King stepped in, saying the old world had to end, that embracing change was the only way Atlantis survived. Carter kept pushing, warning their energy would run dry and he wasn't sticking around to die with everyone else. Her father said he'd sooner die than hand it over, and Carter just answered that they'd help themselves then. The Black Tide King promised to help Carter seize the throne in exchange for half the core. They struck a deal, attacked the core together, and ended up shattering it by accident. A massive beam of energy tore loose and flooded into the abyss, and that was what caused the global flood. Right before everything fell apart, her father pressed a glowing necklace into her hands and told her to reclaim the source energy core and restore the light. Back in the present, Lily was crying.
Boss, I remember everything now. My mission isn't just to save my home. It's to purge the traitors who defiled the glory of the deep sea. Please, lead me to take back everything.
I reassured her not to worry, and that from the Black Tide to the Iron Anchor Alliance, none of them would escape. High above us, Zachary sneered that Jack really was hiding there, ordering the ruins blown to pieces along with him. With that, all the submarines fired torpedoes straight down at us. I almost activated my power, when Lily just smiled and asked me to let her handle it. She raised her hands and spun up a massive whirlpool. Up in the submarines, sirens started screaming.
Warning! External pressure has reached critical levels. The hull is deforming.
Zachary stared in disbelief, denying it and asking where Jack got a monster like that, lamenting how unfair it was after all his suffering. Jack was having more and more strong allies. The whirlpool crushed everything completely, destroying all of those submarines into rust. We surfaced back at our ship, hauling in the stolen barrels of heavy oil that was inside Hannah inventory, and Daisy only cheered at the sight of so many resources. I hit the upgrade button on my system, and the ship glowed with blinding light before transforming into a massive level 8 ship. Somewhere out on the water, some kid on a survivor's boat was telling his dad he was incredible. The man bragged that Lady Luck was on his side, he could gather some materials and would upgrade his ship into level 6. His crew cheered him on, calling him the best. But suddenly, they all looked up and spotted my colossal warship looming over them.
Holy crap! Is that ships?
Meanwhile, I was just standing on my own deck, sipping red wine, taking it all in. Sophia reported that Black Shark's max firepower was 1.5 times ours and their 7 frigates excelled at Wolfpack tactics, giving us less than a 40% win rate in a head-on clash. Okay, I decided to go all out and attack the Alliance before they strike fist. Hannah agreed. She also reported the main gun was calibrated and the rapid loader passed the test. Chloe said she had memorized all the boarding points, and Lily gestured that her underwater friend was assembled and ready. Suddenly, a system warning flashed across everyone's screens.
Large-scale combat detected. An eruption is imminent in the danger zone. All survivors are advised to stay clear.
Out on the global chat, people were already losing it, asking who exactly Jack was to dare go head-to-head with the biggest alliance, calling me some reckless rookie. I smiled and said it seemed everyone was waiting for a show. So fine, let's give them a blockbuster. Sophia got tense. She warned that Iron Anchor Alliance's flagship was charging its main gun. I told them that as planned, we would engage them head-on, asking Hannah to give them a little greeting blast. Hannah locked on and fired, reporting a direct hit but noting their armor was thicker than expected. The Alliance leader's face flickered onto the system interface screen.
Jack, huh? That heavy oil you scavenged is only good for making a little noise. To crush you, I've welded double-layer composite armor onto every single ship. So when your ship sinks, maybe you'll be able to struggle for a few more seconds.
I scoffed that he had a sharp tongue, ordering to blow that arrogant little boat to smithereens. When the enemy attacked my ship, as expected, their weapon also couldn't scratch my ship barrier. Basically, our ship was on the same level. But I just smirked. I told my crew it was our turn, ordering armor-piercing shells aimed at that same spot with rapid fire. With my rapid fire trait skill, our weapons struck the enemy ship's barrier like a rain. One of the enemy men panicked that my fire density was insane for a level 9 basic ship. The Alliance leader shouted back that he didn't believe that piece of junk had much ammunition left, telling them to weather the storm until my ship ran dry. 10 minutes later, his man screamed that our bombardment dropped their shield energy by 40% and they couldn't hold on. Alliance leader roared for the frigates to flank us from the sides. Noticing the enemy surrounding us, Sophia reported they were trying to board us with 7 frigates. But Hannah just laughed, telling us to take a rest and watch her clear their decks with the newly calibrated grenades. I smiled and said, "All right, everyone, it was showtime." With that, Lily commanded one of her sharks to breach and slam right into their ships, whipping up a huge whirlpool. Chloe grappled onto their deck, kicked a pirate in the face, and cut through their crew in seconds. The guys on the survivor boat could barely process it.
That woman didn't even draw her blade and she's already taken out 6 of them. That's incredible! This is practically a team of goddesses. How is the Iron Anchor Alliance supposed to fight back?
The Alliance leader stared at his screens in horror.
What kind of monsters are these? Jack, you are so damn annoying.
Once the deck was cleared, Daisy clapped her hands.
Finally, they've all been dealt with.
But Sophia's radar pinged.
High-energy life form detected approaching.
Suddenly, a fully mutated Zachary burst up out of the water and landed on our deck.
All of you, just die.
He screamed. Chloe tried to cut him down, but his tentacles blocked her sword. They fought ferociously. But Lily seized the moment and blasted him with a massive wave of water, knocking him flat. I walked right up to him. "Look at the pathetic state you've put yourself in. All just to seek revenge on me? Mr. Zachary, your life really is a tragedy."
Jack, you destroyed everything I had.
What ruined you was your own greed and malice. First fighting over women, now fighting to become a monster. Every choice you make in life is ridiculously wrong. He cried, asking how he would have ended up like that if not for me, swearing to tear me apart. But I told him to keep on screaming, asking if he wanted to see what true power was. So, I punched a glowing red hole straight through his chest, and this time, I killed him for real. The survivor watching from his boat using binoculars stuttered through the whole thing.
And it's over already? Monster. He was blown to pieces by a single punch from Jack. Jack is the real monster here. We said he relied on women. Who the heck does he even need to rely on?
Looking at all of that, the Alliance leader was shocked to the core. So, he walked outside his hiding spot and tried to flee to the water. But I hooked him, yelling that he couldn't escape me. Looking at his hideous face, I asked him about the King of the Black Tide. If he wouldn't talk, I would throw him to feed the sharks.
Wait! I'll talk. The Black Tide King, he's not human. He's a monster collaborating with the traitors of Atlantis. He wants the Atlantis Source Energy Core. He said it's the key to unlocking the Abyss. We're just tools to help him collect heavy oil.
Oh, that's legit info. So I asked where he was.
The ultimate sea.
He cried out.
The deepest, darkest part of the ocean. He's hiding there, guarding something. That's all I know. Please, spare me.
Because I was a saint, I ordered Chloe to let him live and lock him in the brig. After looking around at the enemy ship, Hannah brought up something and said it looked like a treasure map. Lily studied it, identifying it as ancient Atlantean script marking the location of the primal energy temple. I deduced that it was handcrafted by the King of the Black Tide, concluding we had no choice but to head into the ultimate sea. So, we sailed into a thick dark fog, and a message greeted us.
Welcome, players, to the ultimate sea.
Sophia reported that electronic devices were facing heavy interference there, so we could only rely on Lily's senses and the ancient sea chart. Lily nodded, then sensed that the call of the primal energy was faint in that direction, but something massive and hostile was approaching. Daisy suddenly gasped at the huge fish coming from the direction Lily pointing, declaring it was enough food for half a month. Lily paled, warning that the whale was heavily corrupted by the abyss. Chloe warned that we couldn't take it head on, offering to ran away when she would fought the fish with everything she had. But I said nope, why we should withdraw, noting that finally a big fish had appeared and that I'd rather find a guide who knew the way. So I dived in and swam straight at the massive beast. God's hook! I latched onto it. As I came contact with the whale, I could sense where the abyss corrupted it. It was a stone embedded in the fish head, radiating the ominous energy. Turn on the brute force power, pull it out for me. As the trait activated, I ripped the corruption clean out of its side. Notice the chance. Lily tried using her power to control the whale, but the corruption was too deep. Her power wasn't working. Feeling there was no way out, Sophia ordered Hannah to ready all weapons, aiming for non-lethal parts of the whale, and Chloe to prepare support. But I yelled to them to stop, and activating my 007 constitution, forcing all the abyss power to be purified. After coming to its senses, I commanded the whale to guide us to the primal energy core. As we followed the whale to a giant glowing crystal, Lily pointed out that the strongest signal was right there. Grinning, I said we finally found it. The source of everything. Suddenly, a server-wide announcement fired off for everyone to see.
Player Jack has triggered the ultimate dungeon, Atlantis Sanctuary. Spectator mode is now active. Good luck, players.
Every player was shocked. What the hell was Atlantis Sanctuary, and why did the system make everyone watch the raid? Is this a main plot or what? But down below, everyone could see something terrifying. The Sanctuary is attacked by a hideous monster that uses submarines underwater. They bombarded the Sanctuary with all kinds of weapons. The boss monster was the Black Tide King, and his mutant army was ordered to destroy the Sanctuary barrier. Inside the Sanctuary, a powerful Atlantis Elder rallied his men to hold the line and protect the Sanctuary barrier. The Elder insisted that the princess would return, and that the prophecy was never wrong. But sadly, the barrier was destroyed, and the fight broke out for the Atlantis people with the mutant army. With a menacing laugh, the Black Tide King ordered all his mutant army to charge in, snarling at the Elder for daring to block him. Before he could even lay a finger on the Elder, my ship burst up out of the water and attacked him. Looking at my ship, the Black Tide King snarled, asking who was there and how I dared meddle in his business. Then, I stepped forward, saying now it was his turn to be fuck up. But he just laughed at me, calling me a land-crawling vermin and asking how I ended up there. I mocked him as ugly, noting he couldn't even block a crawler's attack yet wanted the source energy core. He snarled, wondering if I wanted the core too.
Just go away. You are not even worthy to even see the energy core, let alone having it. Your piles of scrap metal ship were worthless against the true power of the deep sea.
Suddenly, he summoned one of his best guardians, a super big corrupted whale. Even the Elder gasped in horror upon recognizing the deep-sea demon whale king. It was one of the chaos demons of the sea. Sophia yelled at me, warning that it was a peak level 8 sea beast and not to take it head on. But I didn't even care. I jumped onto the whale and punched it in the face. But the Black Tide King only laughed, asking if I was just tickling his guardian. Well, I must acknowledge that the hide was certainly thick. The Black Tide King raised his weapon high.
No more time for games. Wrath of the deep sea.
He ordered the giant whale to attack me with a burst of power. He also activated his power.
Sea God's trident.
He unleashed a massive laser at me, but I kept calm. If I couldn't block their power, I needed to make them fight each other. So, I evaded the whale laser attack and used my brute force power to move the whale and aimed its laser attack right back at the Black Tide King, triggering a massive explosion. The survivors watching from their ship lost their minds completely.
He's swinging a level 8 sea beast like a baseball bat. What kind of insane move is this? What incredible strength! Boss Jack, are you even human?
After everything had blown up, I came out unscathed and reassured the Elder not to be alarmed, explaining we were not there to plunder but to escort their princess home. Lily then came out of the ship in her mermaid form.
I am Lily. I have returned.
The Atlanteans fell to their knees, saying they had been waiting for the princess there all that time. The crowd of Atlanteans erupted, proclaiming that it really was the princess and the prophecy was true. The Elder thanked us, declaring that Atlantis would never forget this kindness, especially me, who killed the Black Tide King, their biggest enemy. All the Atlantis guards there whispered in awe that the princess was incredible for recruiting such a powerful warrior. In the end, Lily thanked me for helping them eliminate the traitors. Hearing Lily's words, the Elder asked in confusion, "Why is the princess the only one bowing to the human?" I only smirked and clarified that she actually worked for me. The guard's jaws dropped.
Wait, so the princess didn't recruit him? The princess was the one recruited by him?
Another guard yelled.
It makes sense. The human man walks the seabed like flat ground and crushed the Black Tide King easily. He's simply not human. He must be the incarnation of the sea god. Could he be the savior from the prophecy who will save Atlantis?
The Elder realized I must be the sea god, so he presented me the glowing chest, begging me to accept it. A system message confirmed it right away.
Congratulations! You have obtained the Level 9 Noah's Ark Blueprint.
After getting my nice reward, I asked how much the Elder knew about the primordial energy core. The Elder just told me to follow him. Now, inside the strange room, I could see a big, broken crystal.
That is the primordial energy core. It is not just our sacred relic, it is the lock that seals the dark abyss. Back then, Carter and the Black Tide King teamed up to seize it, but accidentally shattered it, resulting in an energy leak into the abyss. It is also the true source of this global flood. Only by repairing the source energy core can we restart Atlantis and end all this.
I stated that I understood. Somehow, I got a rough idea how to fix it. So, I asked Lily to stand beside me. I needed her Heart of the Sea to help repair the core. After Lily channeled her power to the core, I activated my Luban Master skill. One survivor on his raft cheered loudly, watching it all unfold.
Finally, the end is in sight. Is this darn game finally ending? Jack is the GOAT. We're going home. Brothers, get ready for the victory banquet.
Sophia checked her system window.
Repair progress at 37%. At this rate, it'll be done in 15 minutes.
Then dark energy erupted out of nowhere from the corner of the room. Lily pointed out the abyssal aura and asked if it was the Black Tide King. How could he come back after his death? The Elder shouted that his target was the source energy core and to stop him quickly. So, I stepped in front of the crystal. How could you come back to life? The Black Tide King laughed at me.
Do you think your pathetic trick gonna kill me? I just hide a bit to let this stupid Elder guard down and lead me to the core room.
He suddenly drew out his power and shattered the core with just a single power. The core shattered into fragments. Wait, so your goal was never to steal it, but you want to destroy the core, right? The Black Tide King absorbed all the abyss caged inside the core and laughed at me. Then he let out a wave of dark magic and stared at me.
Ah, so you have a brain. I've been waiting for that moment far too long. Why would I steal a defective relic? I want the abyssal origin sealed within it. By devouring it, only then can I truly evolve and become the god who rules this endless sea.
The survivors watching all of this happening on their system window went silent with dread.
The Black Tide King has been waiting for this very moment. He outmaneuvered everyone. We're doomed. It's all over. Run! Run while you still can.
The Black Tide King looked into the sky, declaring it was time to wrap it up and calling upon the Eye of the Abyss. With his black eyes, he invoked the fury of the Abyss. In an instant, he shattered my ship completely. Everyone panicked to see the impact of the ship blown into two. Even Hannah crashed to the deck. No, I need to keep my calm. So, I blasted him with everything I'd got, while still thinking of the best way to deal with this bitch. But the Black Tide King only smirked, asking how long I could hold out, and kept sending me a barrage of dark attacks. While I kept dodging all the black lasers, I called Hannah using the system interface and asked how long to repair the ship. Hannah reported structural damage at 71%, but the core power chamber was intact. She could fix the ship if she got some time. Okay, I give me 5 minutes. Fix it in time, or everyone will be in danger. Chloe didn't stay idle either. She drew her sword, offering to buy some time. She slashed all the raging water that tried to damage the ship further. Meanwhile, Lily rallied the warriors of Atlantis to follow her and disrupt the raging abyss water. The Elder nodded. He ordered everyone to take formation for the princess and their home. Together, they threw up a huge magic shield, tried their best to channel their magic toward Lily, and made the magic shield bigger. After 5 minutes, Hannah shouted that the ship was repaired. After getting cornered, I ran away from the Black Tide King and walked toward Lily. Lily, give me your necklace. I need the heart of the beam. Without asking why, Lily poured all the magic she received from all the guards and pushed it inside the necklace. Then, she threw the necklace to me.
The Atlantis fate is within your hand now. Please save us, boss!
When the necklace touched my hand, I could sense the fragment of the core that shattered before. System used the heart of the beam and the shattered core fragment to upgrade my ship. Suddenly, a message triggered.
Congratulations! You've collected all source energy core fragments. Now, the upgrade will be initiated.
In that moment, my ship upgraded into a massive futuristic submarine. It turned into a level 9 ship, a Noah's Ark. With my new ship, I looked at the Black Tide King in the eye. Now it was my turn. The Black Tide King laughed at me.
Even if you reach level 9, it's useless.
He started to vanish, using the abyss power to enter a dark mode. Sophia from the main ship room reported the target was in stealth mode, conventional lock-on failed, and energy readings showed the enemy only materialized for 0.1 seconds every 3 seconds. Hannah calculated that with artillery response time at 0.3 seconds, they couldn't keep up. The ship weapon was useless in this case. But in my new Ark ship deck, I smiled and said there was no need to look. I have a cheat for this. With that, I activated my God's Hook trait that always locked into the target and let my hook locate the Black Tide King. When my hook could literally find him, even in his stealth mode, the Black Tide King gasped in shock. Then I shouted for Hannah and Sophie inside the ship to fire the biggest attack right into him. But even after the biggest attack, the power only cracked the Black Tide King's barrier a little bit. Sensing his next move, I called for a saturation attack. My ship fired every single weapon it had at once, while I used my fire attack trait to maximize the attack. Receiving all the attacks from my ship, the king declared that things were getting interesting, suggesting that since my crew and I loved our unity, we should fall together. He then unleashed something he called abyssal assimilation, spearing his dark power into Atlanteans. The Atlanteans screamed as dark energy corrupted them. Some of the guards fell with the abyss power corrupted into the darkness. They attacked their fellow Atlanteans, slashing and fighting their own kind with rage. Looking at that, the Black Tide King mocked everyone, saying that this was the true power of the abyss and the price of our resistance. When the darkness tried to reach me, I activated 007 Constitution, then walked straight through his dark magic like it wasn't even there. The Black Tide King stammered, asking how I was unaffected. But I won't answer his stupid question. I just sliced through his dark tentacles with a glowing sword. With my purifying constitution, my sword could really hurt him. But the Black Tide King only laughed at my attack.
Abyssal power is infinite. I could replenish my power and heal myself every second. Unless you have a god-tier weapon that can fully purify abyss energy, slashing me away until you die won't help.
Looking at how cornered I was, Lily cried and tried to help me. She closed her eyes and prayed to the sea god.
Sea god, who rules the tides and the abyss, I, Lily, by my royal blood, offer the final radiance. Please, bless him.
All the elders also prayed with her, giving me blessings one after another. Suddenly, a message flashed across my face.
Main quest completed. Reward: legendary chest.
Without wasting a single second, I opened the legendary chest and my max level luck also activated.
Congratulations. You've obtained the legendary sea god set.
I pulled on the legendary blue armor and grabbed the trident. Instantly, I transformed into a sea god. Then, I turned to the Black Tide King, telling him it was time for him to die. The survivor watching from the system interface couldn't even breathe.
That armor and that trident, I've seen them in the ancient scrolls. The sea god. It really is the sea god set.
Meanwhile, looking at my transformation because of my new god tier weapon, the Black Tide King was speechless.
The complete ocean omnipotence. How could you possibly earn recognition at such a level? This is impossible.
I only glared at him, telling him he talked too much. Just die already. The Black Tide King screamed that he was the abyss and the ocean itself. He unleashed a massive corrosive dark power, turning his snake hair into 1,000 black snakes and shot right at me. But I just activated my sea god blessing, and all the snakes turned into smoke.
Endless power. Is that it? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. My power had clearly touched the very edge of the laws. How could you be completely immune?
I informed him that from start to finish, he was only borrowing the Abyss's power, while my gear was bestowed by the Sea God. In the end, I told him his big move was over, and it was time to go. With that, I slashed my trident and poured my divine power into his abyssal body. With that, the Black Tide King disintegrated in front of me, whispering one last thing to himself.
I am destined to become a god.
After the enemy died, one by one, the Atlanteans who had fallen into the darkness before dropped their weapons. Their eyes turned normal again. Looking at how awesome I was, Daisy burst into tears of joy, calling me the most incredible boss in the world. The Elder also bowed low, calling me a living sea god walking among them. I told everyone to rise, placing the last fragment from the core back into its rightful place and triggering Luban Master. A massive beam of light shot straight up into the sky, and the core crystal repaired itself into its legendary state again. With the powerful wave of energy, all the raging water was calmed down, and the sea started to be pushed back into the deep earth. A message went out across the entire server for every player to see.
Global announcement. Player Jack has repaired the primordial core, eradicating the abyssal energy and preserving the spark of Atlantean civilization. Granted the unique permanent title, Sea King.
Out on the surface, the water started dropping fast. The survivors on that little boat broke down in tears watching it happen.
The water is actually receding. I'm not dreaming, am I? Land, it's green, I see trees, we actually survived.
The cheering on the global channel was deafening. People were weeping, screaming, praising the heavens, and me, that they finally got to go home. But standing on the observation deck of my Noah's Ark, looking out as the ocean level plummeted at an impossible rate, I realized something was wrong. Sophia told me with a trembling voice that the topography was not matching any of the old world's continental plates, stating that it wasn't Earth, or at least not the Earth we knew. She was right. As the endless sea drained away in massive roaring waterfalls into the deep trenches, the land breaking the surface wasn't the ruined skyline of old coastal cities. The trees those survivors saw in the distance weren't oaks or pines. They were towering, crystalline structures piercing the sky, shimmering with an ethereal alien light. Massive, ancient ruins built from stone and metal that defied physics stretched out as far as the eye could see. The water receded, but instead of mud and devastation, it revealed a pristine, terraformed landscape. Then, the world froze. Not literally, but a heavy absolute silence fell over the entire planet. The familiar, cold, mechanical ping of the system vanished. When the voice returned, it didn't sound like a machine anymore. It was a profound, echoing resonance that seemed to vibrate right in the marrow of my bones. It spoke to every surviving human on the planet simultaneously.
Congratulations, humanity.
The voice was heavy, ancient, and undeniably real.
The Survival at Sea tutorial is now complete. The abyssal corruption has been purged, initiating Phase 2, the Great Reconstruction.
A massive holographic projection ignited across the entire sky. It wasn't just a screen, it was a terrifying download of truth broadcast to all of us. I watched as the sky displayed a simulation of our solar system, a dark, writhing mass, the abyss latching onto Earth.
Your world was targeted by the abyssal swarm.
The system's true voice continued, echoing like a god overhead.
The flood was not a punishment. It was a desperate quarantine protocol. a planetary reset designed to seal the abyss in the deep trenches. We forced you onto the waters to wipe out the weak, to force the strong through a crucible of evolution. Only a species that could adapt to the impossible could hope to fight back.
Hannah whispered that it was a forced evolution protocol, realizing that the whole time they were being incubated.
You have survived the quarantine?
The system boomed.
Now, reclaim your world.
Before anyone could even process the revelation, a violent tremor rocked the Ark. Lily cried out that the core was reacting to the surface. I shouted for everyone to hold on to something as I projected my energy over the crew as the Ark lurched. Out the reinforced windows, a colossal, glowing continent broke the surface, rising majestically into the sunlight. We weren't just descending with the water. The land was rising to meet us. The Noah's Ark, a massive Level 9 submarine battleship, glided perfectly through the remaining water and touched down with a heavy, satisfying metallic thud right in the center of a massive, empty ancient plaza. The architecture around us was breathtaking. Towering spires of white stone and gold, vast courtyards, and monolithic statues of ancient mermen and sea gods. It was Atlantis, the real one. As Daisy stammered that we had landed, I ordered the hatch opened to see what we had just woken up. The heavy doors hissed open and the fresh air that flooded in smelled like ozone and sweet sea salt. I stepped out onto the ancient plaza, my crew right behind me. Lily fell to her knees the second her bare feet touched the smooth white stone. She wept that she was home. Deep beneath the plaza, the primordial core pulsed like a beating heart. With every pulse, a visible shockwave of pure, golden blue energy swept across the continent. I watched in absolute awe as the dead, petrified coral reefs surrounding the plaza instantly burst into life, transforming into towering, bioluminescent forests of glowing purple and blue flora. Dry, cracked stone channels running through the city suddenly surged with glowing, crystal-clear fresh water. The ruined, battle-scarred buildings around us, structures that had been shattered by the Black Tide King and Carter before, began to shift and grind. Stone reattached to stone. Shattered crystal spires wove themselves back together in real time, catching the sunlight and casting rainbows across the plaza. The bloom of life. Atlantis wasn't just rising, it was rebuilding itself. Chloe asked what we do then, and if the game was over. I looked out at the glowing forests, the flowing energy, and the massive, alien continent we now stood on. I thought about the millions of survivors out there, landing on this strange new Earth, and the abyss that still lurked in the deepest, darkest trenches. I pulled up my interface. A tiny golden slot machine popped up in my vision, right on cue.
Today's trade hasn't been drawn. Draw now?
I couldn't help but smile. The tutorial is over, I told my crew, my voice steady and echoing across the Reborn Plaza. But the real game starts today. The reborn capital of Atlantis was a labyrinth of light and ancient magic, but Lily knew the way. She led my crew and me through the winding, bioluminescent streets, her eyes wide with a mix of awe and sorrow as she traced her fingers along the perfectly restored walls. Lily pointed toward the colossal domed structure, explaining that the stasis vaults were just ahead.
When the flood was initiated, my father ordered our greatest minds and warriors into deep sleep. He knew that if the core was ever restored, Atlantis would need its foundation to rebuild.
We stepped inside the dome. The air here was freezing, humming with latent energy. Stretching out before us were thousands of massive, transparent crystal chambers. Inside them, perfectly preserved, were the ancients. I saw men and women in intricate, flowing robes, scholars and master craftsmen. I saw towering holy knights clad in silver and deep blue armor, their hands resting on broadswords. And standing guard in the alcoves were colossal magical golems, carved from obsidian and sea glass, completely dormant. Hannah whispered that the tech there was centuries ahead of anything we had in the old world. I agreed. It's time to wake them up. So, I stepped up to the central dais. There was a recess in the stone that perfectly matched the sea god's trident currently resting in my hand. I planted the base of the trident into the slot. Immediately, the entire dome lit up. A wave of pure blue energy rippled out from the trident, washing over the crystal chambers. With a sound like melting ice, the crystals began to dissolve into glowing mist. A collective, echoing gasp filled the chamber as thousands of Atlanteans took their first breath in centuries. At the forefront, a towering knight with a scarred face and a heavy cape pushed himself out of his chamber. His eyes snapped open, glowing with a fierce, martial light. He looked around, disoriented for a fraction of a second, before his gaze landed on me. Gavin boomed, asking if I was a human and how I dared defile the sacred sanctum, until Lily ordered him to halt. Gavin stammered, asking if it was Princess Lily, and noting she survived, but questioning the human. Lily just took a deep breath. She explained that I was the savior of the prophecy. Gavin started to realize the primordial core had been restored, and swore eternal loyalty to the Sea King, commanding his life be ours. He threw his sword to the stone floor. He fell to both knees, pressing his forehead to the ground. Behind him, the scholars, the craftsmen, and the entire battalion of holy knights did the same in perfect cascading unison. Even the massive obsidian golems powered up, their rune eyes glowing blue, and slowly knelt, shaking the entire vault.
We swear eternal loyalty to the Sea King.
Gavin's voice echoed like thunder.
Command us, Your Majesty. Our lives are yours.
I looked at the kneeling army, then at Lily, who gave me a proud, teary-eyed smile. I told them to rise, saying we had a world to rebuild and it looked like we were about to have company. Meanwhile, out on the golden shores of the newly risen continent, the human refugee crisis had begun. The system, in its final act of the tutorial, gently guided the surviving rafts, sloops, and brigs toward the continent. Thousands of ships were washing up on the pristine beaches. Among them was the old man and his son. They stumbled off their wooden deck onto the warm golden sand, collapsing in exhaustion. They were starving, shivering, and completely terrified by the massive glowing alien structures looming in the distance. The young man cried that they made it, it was land, and they were actually alive, while the old man wept and thanked Boss Jack. But not everyone arriving on the shores shared their reverence. Further down the beach, a fleet of high-level human players, captains of level 7 combat ships who survived by ruthlessly plundering others, disembarked. They looked at the towering crystalline spires and the glowing magical architecture not with awe, but with rampant greed. The raiders shouted among themselves about Phase 2, giving them the ultimate loot zone, telling each other to smash open every building like a treasure chest. So, they charged toward the nearest Atlantean outpost, a beautifully crafted pavilion of sea glass and gold. They swung their pickaxes and weapons, trying to shatter the walls. But, well, they didn't get far. A squad of newly awakened Atlantean holy knights, led by Gavin, teleported into the pavilion in a flash of blue light. Gavin snarled at the barbarians for daring to vandalize the Sea King's domain, while the scarred player mocked them as mob NPCs and ordered them killed for rare gear. The culture clash erupted into chaos. The human players, arrogant from surviving the ocean, charged the knights, but they severely underestimated the ancient warriors. Gavin parried a blow effortlessly and kicked the scarred player so hard he flew backward 30 feet, crashing into the sand. More human ships arrived, seeing the fight, and the mob mentality took over. Weapons were drawn. Panic spread among the peaceful refugees like the old man, who huddled together as the greedy players prepared to siege the Atlantean knights. I watched this all unfold through the surveillance grid Lily activated in the capital. Shaking my head, I sighed that if you give some people paradise, they still want to turn it into a dumpster fire. Sophia asked if she should mobilize the Ark's main guns, but I told her no, that they needed to understand that the rules had fundamentally changed. So I pulled up my daily roll system, I ordered a draw, the golden slot machine spun and locked.
Congratulations! You have obtained the golden trait, Supreme Ruler's Aura. Effect: your presence suppresses all hostile intent, inspires absolute awe, and enforces gravitational authority within your domain.
Perfect. I told Lily to stand down, adding that I was coming down there. I stepped out of the capital, bending my knees, and activated 007 Constitution and brute force power. I leaped. I crossed miles of the continent in a single parabolic arc, soaring over the glowing forests, and crashed down onto the golden beach right between the human raiders and the Atlantean knights. The impact threw up a massive wall of sand. The fighting stopped instantly as everyone turned to look at the crater I just made. I stood up, the sea god armor gleaming in the sunlight. The old man shouted that it was Jack. But the scarred players scoffed about Jack clearing the boss, saying the tutorial was over and they outnumbered me. Until I activated Supreme Ruler's Aura. The tutorial is over, I said, my tone absolute ice. which means the era of lawless plundering, of finders, keepers, and backstabbing dies today. I summoned the sea god's trident, planting it into the sand. The earth rumbled in response. This is not a game anymore. This is my kingdom. You are standing on Atlantean soil, and I am its king. I looked out across the thousands of terrified faces. I will offer you a choice. Abide by my laws, contribute to the Great Reconstruction, and you will live in a paradise where you will never go hungry or fear the dark again. I looked down at the raiders pinned beneath my aura. But if you draw a weapon in greed, if you try to exploit the weak, or if you defile this land, I won't just kill you. I will banish you to the barren, abyssal wastelands beyond this continent's shield, where the monsters that survived the flood are currently starving. After that, I released the gravitational pressure just enough for the scarred player to gasp for air. He looked up at me, his former arrogance completely replaced by utter primal terror. I asked if it was understood. He sobbed that they understood and submitted, begging the Sea King. Saying good, I welcomed them to Atlantis and said to get them all something to eat. The next morning, I woke up not to the sound of crashing waves or creaking wood, but to the gentle hum of pure ambient energy. I opened my interface, and immediately, the familiar golden screen flashed, but the UI was completely different.
Global system patch complete. Phase 2. The Great Reconstruction initialized. The golden trait system has adapted to territorial management.
The old survival mechanics, fishing, raft upgrades, and water purifiers had vanished. In their place was a massive territory management screen mapping out the Atlantean continent. A new prompt flashed.
Today's trait hasn't been drawn. Draw now?
Yes, of course. I told it to draw. The golden slot machine spun, the icons blurring past pictures of castles, crops, and armies.
Congratulations! You have obtained the golden trait, Supreme Architect. Effect. By consuming territorial resources, you can instantly construct, repair, or upgrade any building within your domain without cast times.
I grinned. Now that's what I'm talking about. I headed out to the edge of the capital where the thousands of human refugees had set up a makeshift camp on the Golden Sands. The old man and his son were trying to build a lean-to out of salvaged ship wood, looking exhausted. Daisy was already there, using a massive Atlantean crystal stove to hand out steaming bowls of nutrient-rich sea beast porridge. I walked up to the edge of the camp, opened my new Supreme Architect interface, and selected a blueprint for a high-density residential district. I fed in the massive stockpile of wood, stone, and metal I hoarded during the tutorial phase. Snapping my fingers, I ordered the trait activated. Golden light erupted from the ground. The refugees screamed and scattered as the earth shifted. In the blink of an eye, pristine white stone houses with crystal pane windows and glowing blue power conduits rose from the dirt. Paved roads wove between them, and a massive freshwater fountain erupted in the center of the square. The old man weeping declared it a miracle granted by the Sea King. Settle in, I told the awestruck crowd. Daisy has already secured a patch of land outside the city. With my new bountiful harvest buff, she'll have a month's worth of crops fully grown by tomorrow morning. Nobody goes hungry in my kingdom. When I returned to the Ark, I found Hannah looking like a mad scientist. She was covered in grease, holding a glowing Atlantean power crystal in one hand and a blowtorch in the other. Hannah screamed that she cracked it, explaining the system gave her the Aeronautical Bastion blueprint and asking to combine it with the Ark's core. I told her to do it. She slammed her hand onto the upgrade console. The entire capital shook. The level 9 Noah's Ark, our trusty submarine battleship, began to glow with blinding light. The hull expanded, reshaping itself with sleek white armor and glowing gold accents. Massive anti-gravity rings spun to life beneath the hull, humming with infinite energy. Slowly, majestically, the ship lifted off the ground, ascending hundreds of feet into the sky above the capital until it hovered like a crown over Atlantis.
Upgrade complete. Acquired. The Sky Citadel. Status. Royal Palace and Orbital Defense Platform.
I walked over to the edge of my new floating balcony, looking down at my perfect, peaceful kingdom. But of course, in a world like this, peace never lasted long. Sophia informed me we had a problem in the northern quadrant. Sighing, I asked if some people still didn't get the memo.
Worse,
Sophia said, swiping a holographic map into the air.
It's a coalition calling themselves the Abyssal Remnant. High-ranking players, mostly former black market lords and Iron Anchor shadow backers, who hid during the final boss fight. They managed to salvage some of the Black Tide King's corrupted tech before the water receded.
And? I asked.
They're refusing to submit to your laws. They've used the abyssal tech to mutate the local flora, creating a fortress. Their leader, a guy named Victor, just broadcast a message saying the Sea King is a false god and claiming the North as a sovereign, free-looting territory.
I took a sip of the red wine Daisy just poured me. How annoying. Hannah asked if she should prep the Citadel's main orbital cannons. No, I said, leaning back in my throne. If I have to swat every bug myself, what's the point of being a king? It's time to let the rest of the world see exactly what happens when you cross the Sea King's inner circle. I looked at the crew, take them apart. Sophia agreed, saying she would start with their wallets. Sophia tapped into the system's Phase 2 trade platform. Because the capital sat on the primordial core, she currently controlled the global market's server routing. Within 3 minutes, she placed a total embargo on the Northern Quadrant. She froze all their stored crystals, blocked their access to the global auction house, and cut off their water purification subroutines. Sophia reported that their economy was zeroed out, and they couldn't even buy a bandage. Down on the surface, Lily stood at the edge of the bioluminescent forest, her eyes glowing with ancient power. Lily whispered that nature itself rejected them. She raised her hands, and the earth rumbled. Taking advantage of her new land-based adaptations, she summoned massive lumbering elemental beasts, golems made of crystal and vines. Those terrifying terrestrial predators were charged blindly toward the Northern Quadrant. Then came the hammer. Chloe said they dared defile the Sea King's land with abyssal filth, ordering no structure left standing. The tactical strike was flawless. Through the Citadel's monitors, I watched as Chloe and the Knights tore through the Abyssal Remnant's defenses like a hot knife through butter. Lily's crystal golems smashed their mutated barricades, while Chloe's precise, lightning-fast strikes dismantled their heavy artillery before they could even fire. Stripped of their supplies by Sophia, the rebel players ran out of ammo and stamina within minutes. The resistance crumbled. But their leader, Victor, was desperate. Covered in a grotesque, salvaged abyssal mech suit that pulsed with dark, corrupted oil, Victor managed to hijack an Atlantean teleporter pad during the chaos. A spatial tear ripped open on the balcony of my floating citadel. Victor stepped through, his mech suit dripping black sludge, onto my pristine white marble floor. Victor roared at Jack, asking if he thought he was a god just sitting in a floating castle, accusing him of stealing the world and swearing to rip off his crown. He charged, firing a massive, concentrated beam of dark abyssal energy straight at my head. But I didn't even stand up. I didn't draw my sword. I didn't even activate a trait. I just raised my left hand. The abyssal beam struck my palm and instantly shattered, dissipating into harmless black mist against the sheer, overwhelming purity of the sea god's armor. Victor stammered, asking how that was possible for a peak level 8 void cannon. "Is that it?" I asked, genuinely bored. Then I flicked my wrist. The telekinetic force of the Supreme Ruler's aura slammed into him like a freight train. His abyssal mech suit imploded, the metal crunching like a tin can. Victor was thrown out of the suit, skidding across the marble floor until he came to a halt right at my feet, bruised, bleeding, and entirely broken. I looked down at him, my red wine not having spilled a single drop. "I didn't steal this world," I told him softly, my voice echoing with absolute invincibility. "I saved it, and in my world, pests don't get to make demands." I waved my hand, and 2 holy knights who had teleported in behind him dragged the weeping, screaming leader away to the dungeons. I looked out over the balcony. The Northern Quadrant was pacified, the fields were growing, the cities were being built. Below me, millions of humans and Atlanteans alike looked up at the floating citadel in pure reverence. The tutorial was a nightmare, but looking at the paradise we've built, I knew one thing for sure. It was good to be the king. 6 months passed. If you told me the day the tsunami shattered that mall roof that I would end up ruling a continent, I would have called you insane. But looking down from the sky citadel today, insanity seemed to be exactly what it took to build this paradise. The new world was a marvel. Human ingenuity and Atlantean ancient wisdom had fused perfectly into a thriving, futuristic fantasy utopia. Down in the capital, magic levitation crystal trains glided effortlessly alongside bioluminescent canals. High-rise crystalline towers pulsed with clean, endless energy, while sprawling, golden-leafed forests wove through the city blocks. There was no hunger, there was no war, We didn't just rebuild society, we upgraded it. Inside the grand throne room of the Citadel, I stood before the people who helped me build it all. My crew, my family. Today was the day I made their positions permanent. Sophia, I said, my voice echoing across the marble hall. She stepped forward wearing a sleek, tailored uniform woven from sea silk and smart fabric, a far cry from the soaking wet, terrified woman I fished out of the ocean.
Boss,
she said, bowing her head with a confident smile. You turned a pile of driftwood into a trading empire, I told her. I hereby appoint you Prime Minister of Trade and Logistics. The entire continent's economy is in your hands.
I won't let you down, Emperor,
she replied, her eyes shining. Hannah, I called out next. She practically skipped forward, wiping a smudge of engine grease off her cheek. From salvaging scraps to building this very citadel, you are officially the chief engineer of the Empire. Keep us flying and keep us advancing.
You got it, boss. I've already got blueprints for orbital crystal satellites.
She beamed. Chloe. The swordswoman stepped forward, clad in the silver and sapphire armor of the Atlantean vanguard. She knelt gracefully. You are the absolute edge of my blade. I name you General of the Royal Guard. Command the Holy Knights and keep our borders secure.
My blade is yours, for this lifetime and the next.
Chloe vowed. I looked over to the kitchen doors, which flew open as Daisy, the chef girl, hurried out holding a massive, glowing platinum ladle. Daisy, I laughed. Grand Master of Banquets and Agriculture. You oversee the bountiful harvest protocols. Make sure no one in this world ever knows the taste of moldy bread again.
Are you kidding?
She grinned, pointing her ladle at me.
With the fields we're growing, I'm about to invent 100 new cuisines. Speaking of which, the banquet is ready.
Finally, I turned to Lily. She wasn't standing below the dais. She was standing right beside me. She wore a crown of glowing coral and diamonds, looking every bit the divine royalty she was born to be. I took her hand. And Lily, I said softly, loud enough for the hall to hear, Queen of Atlantis, my co-ruler, the bridge between the ancient deep and the new dawn. Lily squeezed my hand, her eyes welling with happy tears.
Together, Jack. Always.
That evening, we hosted a continent-wide feast. The grand plaza of the capital was filled with millions of humans and Atlanteans sitting side by side at tables that stretched on for miles. The air was thick with the mouth-watering aroma of roasted level 7 Leviathan flank, braised deep-sea mushrooms, and crystal wine that flowed like water from the fountains. I walked among the tables, watching the celebration. I spotted the old man and his son, the ones I saved from the giant centipede months ago. The old man was wearing fine silk robes, laughing heartily as he shared a massive platter of food with an Atlantean scholar. When he saw me, the old man jumped to his feet and raised his crystal goblet high.
To the Emperor!
He shouted, his voice carrying over the crowd.
To Jack, who gave us a world better than the one we lost!
To the Emperor!
Millions of voices roared in unison, raising their glasses to the glowing sky. The sheer wave of gratitude and joy was almost overwhelming. I raised a glass in return, downed the sweet wine, before quietly slipping away from the center of the party. I made my way up to the highest balcony of the Sky Citadel. The night sky was breathtaking, free of pollution, glittering with 1 billion foreign stars. The continent hummed below me, a beacon of life in a vast, purified ocean. I opened my interface one last time. The familiar golden slot machine popped into my vision.
Today's trait hasn't been drawn. Draw now?
I smiled. Draw. The machine spun. The icons blurred, faster and faster, before finally locking into place with a brilliant, blinding flash of gold. But it didn't give me a trait this time. The system's true, profound voice echoed gently in my mind.
Game cleared.
The golden screen shattered into countless particles of light that sank into my chest, warming my very soul.
The golden trait system has fully integrated with the host. You are no longer bound by daily draws. You are the source. Title Sea King upgraded to permanent status. Emperor of the New World.
A final line of text appeared, lingering in the air like a whisper.
Welcome home.
I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath of the cool, clean air. I thought back to the man I used to be. The late nights grinding at a dead-end office job. Linda laughing on a yacht with a man who saw me as nothing but an insect, the heartbreak, the feeling of being a loser, a simp, a background character in my own life. It felt like a story that belonged to a stranger. Linda, Zachary, the Black Tide King, they were all dust, meaningless echoes swallowed by the abyss they worshipped. I heard footsteps behind me. Sophia, Hannah, Chloe, Daisy, and Lily stepped out onto the balcony, holding plates of food and glasses of wine. They surrounded me, laughing, their faces illuminated by the starlight and the glowing city below. I didn't just survive the end of the world. I conquered it. I broke its rules, shattered its masters, and from the ruins I built a paradise for the people who actually mattered. I looked at my family, then out at the endless, glowing horizon of my empire. I was Jack, Emperor of the New World. And for the first time in my life, everything was exactly where it was supposed to be.